We're going to be discussing how to control German cockroaches in 3 simple steps on this edition of the DIY Pest Control Podcast. Welcome to the DIY Pest Control Podcast, where you get the best info for those who want to perform their own pest control. The DIY Pest Control Podcast is brought to you by Pest. Pest has been providing the finest in commercial and residential integrated pest management for structural, lawns, trees, shrubs, and mosquitoes with better control and less contamination at an affordable price. For more info, visit us at naturepest.com. Hey, welcome to another edition of the DIY Pest Control Podcast. I am Frank Hernandez, certified pest control operator here at Pest, and I wanted to cover cockroaches, specifically German cockroach control and infestation. How does this happen? Well, the German cockroach is different from a lot of the other cockroaches you might have in your house, like the American cockroach, which is that large cockroach, Australian cockroach, a woods cockroach. Mainly, they're outdoor roaches, and they make it into the house from your mulch areas, through your sewer pipes, and things like that. But the German cockroach in a single-family home is mostly introduced. Something was brought in that caused you to have that infestation. One, either a bag, a cardboard box, a piece of furniture, an appliance, something had that German roach in there, and it made it in, and now it's become an infestation. And what is an infestation? An infestation is when you have a roach that gets pregnant, lays eggs, and has more roaches. That's an infestation. One roach is not an infestation, but one roach that breeds is an infestation. And the problem with German cockroach is understanding the German roach biology. Most people do not understand the biology, because what the focus of most people in pest control is chemical. And chemical is not equivalent to pest control. The wrong chemical applied to the wrong site at the wrong pest will not get you control. Most of the products that you have over the counter will not help you control a German roach infestation. It will not. And the reasoning is that if you apply a spray or you put a fogger, most of those products will kill the roach instantly, but will not get rid of the nest. And that nest could be behind your cabinets. That nest could be behind a wall. That nest could be in a crack and crevice, somewhere in a void. And it's never, ever going to get back there to kill that problem. So you are spraying, and you're killing, but more and more are being reproduced. Why? Well, the German roach is very prolific at being able to lay eggs. The average German roach lives about 6 months. In that 6 months, she can lay up to 6 egg casings, and probably one on an average of about every 6 weeks. It takes about 6 weeks for them to become incubated and be able to give life to those roaches. Well, they can produce on every single time between 30 and 40 roaches. So if half of them are female, you got anywhere between 15 to 20, 24 roaches that are female that within 6 month period would become adults and would begin to breed. And what happens is that you start spraying when you start seeing the problem, which is usually 2 to 3 months after the infestation. They start multiplying, and you start spraying, and now they're multiplying and multiplying to the point of about a year, you got as many as 10,000 roaches, and you've got a serious infestation on your hands. And this is what happens to most people. They go in to get they'll start going in and getting the roach tablets, then the roach powder, then the roach bait, and what happens is they end up with this concoction in their home of toxic products that did nothing more than contaminate their home and not control the problem. And what you got to understand is the biology first and then the chemical. If you don't understand the biology, the chemical won't work. So with German roach infestations, you really have to focus on using exclusively bait products. And liquid sprays will not help at all. As a matter of fact, they'll make things worse. If you use a pyrethroid type of product that repels the roach, then you end up hiding that roach for a while. So even the males that won't walk around will be stuck in there. They can eat themselves. They can eat their own excrement, their own vomit. They don't have to leave to be able to survive. And they can hide back there. Well, what happens with baits is that baits takes advantage of the roach's biology. When a roach eats the bait, it usually dies within a couple of hours and a couple of days of consuming the product, and they die where they consumed it. Other roaches that are nearby will come and feed on the carcass. They will also, the babies of nymphs that are born will feed on the roach's excrement. Also, the roach, when it dies, it also basically vomits, and all the other roaches eat that vomit. Well, all that product is contaminated with the bait, producing what is known as a secondary kill. If other roaches that ate all that other secondary product die, and they have enough product in their system, then it creates a tertiary kill or a third kill to the next group that comes to feed on them. So that's how it works to destroy the nesting places of where these roaches hide. Obviously, cleanliness and hygiene is very important, but you might say, I clean, I'm borderline obsessive compulsive when it comes to cleaning, and that has nothing to do with whether you'll get an infestation or not. It has to do with if you don't clean, then you have the probability of providing more food that they need so they can basically thrive better. But if you remove all the food and you remove all the sources, you still have an infestation that you have to deal with, and that is how baits work. What most people do is they use baits in conjunction with sprays and powders and all this, and it won't work. You'll contaminate it. One of the things you have to learn to do when you're using baits is not use anything else and wait, because baits are very, very slow. In our business, what we do is we do an initial service and then we do a follow-up service in 30 days to deal with that second generation of roaches that are being born. Anything before that is pretty much useless to try to do anything, unless we're dealing with a sanitation issue in a hospital or a kitchen, a dining room. Where people are being served food, then we obviously use other processes and other means to do that in a commercial environment. But for residential use, if you just apply the bait and you use what is known as the gel bait, has to be applied to crack and crevices. You cannot apply it out in the open and hope the roach is going to come and feed there. You have to get a light, you have to get a flat, and you got to go inside your cabinets in the back and find all the little cracks and all the little crevices where you see the roaches in, and put the product right there in their face. And that's how you have to do it. And you have to read the label, because every product is different. So you have to really read the label and follow the directions on the label to apply it according to label directions, because if you don't, one, you could be violating the law. Number two is that you're not going to get effective results. So that's one of the concerns. You don't want to contaminate everything unnecessarily. Putting it exposed where a little child can touch it or a pet can eat it is not being responsible. So you need to put it away in crack and crevices where they're not going to find it. The second product that we use is called Avert. Now, Avert is a bait, but it's in a dry powder form that you can put behind, like, let's say, your electrical outlets. You pull the plates open. You put it back there inside the wall. You put it inside the voids underneath the kitchen. Anywhere there's a void that nobody's going to touch it. Behind a wall, behind behind the kitchen cabinets, in that hole between the pipes, the water pipes that are coming in, you would put that back there. Now, you need very little of this product. If you have a severe roach infestation, I would recommend you use it. Another product that you can use is what is known as an IGR, an insect growth regulator. And what an IGR does is basically makes the insect to grow up to be an adult that's immature. It cannot reproduce. And therefore, it cuts down on the reproduction on your property of them being able to make, new eggs and those eggs becoming nymphs. And that's what it actually does. So one of the things that we highly recommend is you use is an IGR. We use the Point Source IGR. discs that you don't have to spray, and you can attach it to the back of the refrigerator and back of a cabinet somewhere where nobody's going to touch it. And it has a little sticky back, and you can put it there, and you will replace these about every 3 months. Then I would recommend you coming back with just a gel in 30 days and doing a gel application. Again, looking with a flashlight where those roaches are and applying it to those areas. So with this, you'll be able to get good control of a German cockroach infestation. Now, if you have American cockroaches, this will work to a certain extent, but then you need other products. So I recommend only using it for German cockroaches. Well, I hope you find this useful and that it does help you. And leave us a comment, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing and how this is helping you. We greatly appreciate it. Until next time, have a great one. Thank you for listening to the DIY Pest Control Podcast. Please remember that although Franklin Hernandez is a certified and licensed pest control operator in the state of Florida, the content of this podcast is for informational purposes only. You should consult your local and state government or cooperative extension service before performing any pest control service. Remember to always read and follow label directions because the label is the law.